you guys doing? I don't know who's here, but whoever is here is good enough for me. Dragon, God bless you. And to be honest with you, I have no clue how to know how many people are live, how many people are on. I have no clue. Okay. I hope you can hear me, Dragon. Here's this.
Children of God, and it is God. Philippians chapter 2.
Let me see this. Okay, I guess I am live. Sayyid 3, I am a liar. How is that, Mr. Yahya? Hi, Brian. God bless you, bro. How are you doing? Sayyid, how am I lying? What am I lying about? I didn't say nothing yet. Anyway, I guess we have a change in the topic since our guest who's supposed to be coming up. Love on my mom. God bless you, bro. Good to see you. Our topic originally was Christian Zionism and how it relates to Christianity. But I guess for whatever reason happened, I can't get in touch with both of our guests. So I'm just going to make a quick one. Personally, if you are a follower of Christ, you are a Christian. You can't affiliate yourself with another title. Okay. It's either you are a Christian, followers of Christ, or you're not. To tell me I'm a Christian Zionist, I'm a Jew for Jesus, I am this Christian, that would be a bogus claim. Christian Prince, Julian Coward. Oh yeah, I know who you are, big ears. So anyhow, as much as I'm saddened to do it, but I don't have no choice. Chris Claus, a few weeks ago, was on one of the evolving channels, live channels, Crossing the Crescent. He made few accusations about me. And since I've been calling him out, and he's hiding. Till last week, he came on Pal Talk and had a small debate with me. And honestly, I don't mind if I'm recorded or not. Okay. But if you are honest, at least you say I'm going to be recording. It's not that going to stop you. I have nothing to hide. I stand behind what I say. So he was recording me, or so he says. But on the same token, I was recording him as well. He claims I deny the Messiah of the Old Testament being Jesus Christ. I deny the prophecies to be about Jesus Christ. I never ever made that claim. Chris Claus, I would say he's probably maybe in his late 30s, early 30s. I've been a Christian long before he was born. I've been fighting against Islam long before he knew what Islam is all about. Claus has no authority of speaking about Judaism or about the Talmud. I don't have that authority. I'm not a Jew. I'm not a Jew, never was, never is, never will be. I have nothing against Jews or what they believe. They are free to believe in anything they choose to believe in. To make the claim I have authority on the Old Testament from a Jewish perspective, I'll be a liar. As a Christian, my understanding of the Old Testament is based upon the birth of Christ and after. The Old Testament standing alone before the birth of Christ has nothing to do with Christianity. It's like walking to a store that has no name. Yeah, you know it's a clothing store, but how are you going to tell me what the name of the store is if you don't have a sign? So the Old Testament is the store. The prophecies are the merchandise. How do you know that those merchandise refer to the name of the store? The only way you could tell that is by the birth of Christ. The birth of Christ is the sign that taught us and told us what the Old Testament is about. What are those prophecies about? Who is the Messiah that is mentioned in the Old Testament? If you go to a courtroom, whether you are a district attorney or you are a defense attorney, and you have an evidence, and the judge tells you, I do reject that evidence. You cannot use that evidence. So by the judge rejecting the evidence, you can't push the evidence to be an evidence. A Jew rejects the birth of Jesus Christ. A Jew rejects the New Testament. So if the Jew rejects the evidence, which is Jesus Christ, I cannot prove that the Old Testament, the prophecies of the Old Testament are about Jesus Christ. Simple as that. Based upon that concept, we as Christians, we reject what the Quran says. So if me as a Christian rejects what the Quran says, what right do I have to tell a Jew, you have to accept my evidence when they reject it? Guys, if I'm wrong, by all means, I have no problem if somebody tells me I'm wrong and share with me why am I wrong. If I reject any evidence from a Muslim using his Quran, the Jew has the full right to reject any evidence I present to him. I can't force my evidence, my belief on him. I can share it with him, I can discuss it with him, but I can't prove it to him. I can't force it to him. In reality, it's easier for us as Christians to prove Jesus Christ to a Muslim than to a Jew, based upon the name. The name Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Quran. Yes, I understand it has different twists, it has different definition, it has different characteristics, but the name is there. If the Muslim believes in Jesus Christ in the same manner me and you as a Christian believe in, the Muslim would not be a Muslim. History cannot be denied. The facts of history prove that Jesus Christ existed. They cannot deny that. The only thing they can do is put a twist on the story behind it. Even though the Quran clearly says Jesus is God. Whether they gave him the name Isa or they took the name Isa, it's irrelevant because the name Masih in the Quran is mentioned. And clearly it says he is the Word and he is the soul. Now, how the Muslim interpret it, that's on him. But when you go to the Old Testament, by itself, before the birth of Christ, yes, there are prophecies. Yes, there is Messiah. How would you know that those prophecies are about Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ was not born yet. So when the Jew tells you, I don't know who Jesus Christ is, literally, you can't force on him the birth because he rejects the birth. That does not mean me as a Christian denying the prophecies. If any of you was on an island and a plane dropped a book that is called the Old Testament, and you open that book and you read it, yes, you're going to read the prophecies. Yes, you're going to read about Messiah. But can you say, well, those prophecies are Jesus Christ? If you can tell me yes, how did you know? I don't see the name. Unless if you are a prophet, predicted what those prophecies are. So by you insisting that Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Old Testament, without having his name there, Claus proved that Muhammad mentioned in the Bible without having his name mentioned there. Because he did not know what he was talking about. Here is the conversation or the dialogue that went in with this Claus.
So do I sit now? Picture one now? Excellent. Yeah, it's me, guys. I'm here. Claus, I don't want to talk to you on Pound Talk. You want to do it live? Are you man enough to answer my questions? No, sir. But we can do it here. But I want him to go online and show what kind of BS liar he is. Mr. Claus, when did ever I deny the Messiah to be Jesus Christ? The mic is yours.
Listen to the answer.
Yeah, because when we were bringing up prophecies in the Old Testament,
I did not ask him why. Guys, can you hear it? Or shall I play it from here?
Just a second.
so do I sound now? Do I get one now? Excellent. Yeah, it's me, guys. I'm here. Claus, I don't want to talk to you on Pound Talk. You want to do it live? Are you man enough to answer? To show that Jesus is the Messiah, you deny it because that's not what the Jews believe. Remember, we don't have the authority to show what the Jews believe. So therefore, you deny the Old Testament prophecies about Jesus as being the Messiah.
Okay, we don't have authority to know to say what the Jews believe. No, we don't. We have authority to speak about the Bible. We have authority to speak what Christians believe. Any understanding of the Old Testament is based upon a Christian teaching who we were taught by the birth of Christ. The birth of Christ is what taught us what the Old Testament is about. Without the birth, we don't know nothing. So if a Jew rejects the birth, how are you going to convince him that Jesus is mentioned in his book?
And you deny that Jesus is from the line of David. So therefore, if Jesus is not from the line of David, he cannot be the Messiah, which you deny.
Again, my question was for him to show me where Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Old Testament before the birth of Christ. And why do I say Jesus Christ? Because the name is very important. The prophecies are talking about Messiah, we understand. But without the name, the prophecies could apply on the milkman down the road. So how do we know it was about Jesus Christ? Love all my mom. No, Chris Claus is not a Muslim. He's a Christian Zionist who promotes Jews, Zionism over Christianity. My question to those people, well, I'm going to cut this, very simple. I'm a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ. If anything I promote my faith. I glorify his name. But somebody who claims to be a Christian and tells you God is a Jew and a Zionist, Jesus Christ is a Jew, he preached the Old Testament, he preached in temples, the Jewish people are God's chosen people, they promised the land, God bless the Jews, God bless the state of Israel, then with all due respect, you are praising the Jews above your Lord. So if you feel that the Jews are better, go become a Jew. If you are praising the Jews and you're looking upon them that they are better than you, then go become a Jew. Don't call yourself a Christian. Again, I don't have nothing against Jews. I have no problems with Jews. I do not hate Jews. I don't hate Muslims. I hate Islam, yes. I say it loud, clear, and proud. But anybody you want to praise another group of people over your faith, don't call yourself that faith. It's either you're a follower of Christ or you're not.
And you've denied it for years. Ouch. Wow. Mr. Christos, you have the Old Testament by itself. You have no birth to Christ. You have no New Testament. Can you prove to me that the Messiah in the Old Testament, the prophecies of the Old Testament, are about Jesus Christ? Watch the question before you end up putting your foot up your mouth. You have the Old Testament by itself, without the birth of Christ, without the New Testament.
again, the question is very straight, very direct, and very clear. In the Old Testament, can you show me where is Jesus Christ mentioned before the birth of Christ?
Is yours. Now see, and this is where you show your ignorance. Because a prophecy is only a prophecy once it is fulfilled.
Listen to the answer. A prophecy is only a prophecy when it's fulfilled. When it's fulfilled, it's not a prophecy no more. A prophecy is fulfilled, it's not a prophecy. That's it, it's over and done. John Doe, it's a recording. I don't know how to make it a link or how to be able to post it. That's the problem. I'm not computer tech. I would love to spread it around. If you have an idea how to do that, by all means, I can get in touch with you and you can teach me how to do it.
Watch the question before you end up putting your foot up your mouth. You have the Old Testament by itself, without the birth of Christ, without the New Testament. Can you show me where Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Old Testament? The mic is yours. Now see, and this is where you show your ignorance. Because a prophecy is only a prophecy once it is fulfilled. That's when you can understand that what Christians do is we keep the Old Testament and the New Testament together. We don't separate them, we keep them together, which that's something that you don't do. So, yes, we see specific prophecies in the Old Testament that are now accomplished through and in Jesus. So therefore, we know that Jesus did fulfill those prophecies that makes him the Jewish Messiah. It is not our fault, being Christians, that your Jewish friends like Dakin didn't realize and missed their Messiah. What does A have to do with B when we are talking strictly about A?
We are talking about the Old Testament alone, without, before the birth of Christ. That is A. We are talking about A without the birth of Christ, which is B. So if I'm talking about A by itself, why would you bring B that has nothing to do with A?
We are talking about the Old Testament by itself without the birth of Christ. What does that have to do with the birth of Christ and after? A Jew does not believe in the birth of Christ. A Jew rejects the birth of Christ and rejects the New Testament. Not you teaching him what the Old Testament says based upon your belief. You accept a Muslim teaching you the Bible based upon the Quran? Do you accept a Muslim teach you the Bible based upon what it says in the Quran? And it says no. Why? Because you reject the Quran. So the Jew has no right to reject what you believe in. And believe in what he believes in? No, we need Christians to tell us, to tell the Jew, you are wrong. You don't care what Jews believe truly when we know what Jesus said. I'm not asking you about what you know. I'm not interested in what you know. I'm asking you about
So I'm asking him about where in the Old Testament Jesus Christ is mentioned before the birth of Christ. And he's telling me about the prophecies, which is okay. But how did you know that the prophecies are about Jesus Christ? The answer is the birth of Christ. The birth of Christ is literally the New Testament. It's not the Bible, it's not the book, it's the birth. The birth of Christ is the good news. So the birth of Christ is the reason you understood that the prophecies are about Jesus Christ. But without the birth of Christ, you cannot tell me nothing. Now, a Jew rejects this evidence. A Jew rejects the birth of Christ. So I can't use that and tell him, well, because my belief says those are the prophecies, that means you're wrong. How many of you discuss things with Muslims? Do we use the Bible to talk about Islam, about the Quran? When we talk about the Quran, we talk about the Quran from the Quran. When we talk about the Bible, we talk from the Bible. When a Jew talks to you, he's talking to you from the Old Testament, from his book. So if you have the right, as a Christian, you have the right to reject the Muslim presenting his Quran. You, the Jew, don't have the right to reject what I'm presenting to you. It doesn't make sense. Why the double standard? If we reject the Quran, the Jew has the right to reject or accept. If they choose to reject, that's their right. To tell the Jew what they should believe in because we believe differently, it is wrong. Judaism, Christianity are not the same. They're not even part of each other. They contradict each other. Our teachings, our belief, our acceptance to the Old Testament comes from the birth of Christ. We don't accept the Old Testament because we choose to. We don't live under the laws of the Old Testament. We live under the New Covenant, the New Testament. It doesn't mean we're rejecting the Old Testament. But Christian Zionists, they promote the Old Testament more than anything else. They pick and choose. I'm a Middle Eastern Christian. I'm not a Western Christian. Simple as that. There are 3-4 churches that are recognized and accepted, that has history longer than the USA put together. I don't need Chris Claus or his cult, which I call them a cult. People want to love me, they're welcome to love me. They want to hate me, that's their choice. I'm not doing this for people to love me or for people to hate me. That's completely your choice. You want to hate me? Good for you. I still love you. The bottom line, people like Chris Claus, thinking that they are debating Muslims, are actually they're idiots. How do you debate Quran when you don't even understand the language of it? You're using the translation to debate with. Can you actually debate with the language, the structure of the book? Guys, honestly, go look at Chris Claus' debates. He makes a clown of himself. I'm not trying to degrade the guy, but it's the truth. Chris Claus started on Pal Talk, nothing, nobody. Couple of guys promoted him and found couple of idiot Muslims to debate him. After 2 challenges, 2 debates with them on Pal Talk, he came back with the title Dr. Chris Claus. What authority does Chris Claus talk about the Bible? Where did he study theology? Which covenant he went for and studied? New way of Christianity is the true Christianity. I'm a Christian old school. I'm Christian from the Eastern Bloc. People like Chris Claus look at us that we are fake Christians. Why? Because we refuse, we deny, and we reject what is called Christian Zionism. Zion, the biblical Zion, has nothing to do with the modern day Zionism. God promised the Jews the land? Yes. Did the Jews accept God, followed God, or rejected him? Why do we take certain parts of the Bible and reject the other parts? Technically and literally, we are the Jews of today. We are the followers of Christ. We are the Jews. We are Jews inwardly, not the Jews of today. And again, I'm not saying, I mean, that's a difference of opinion. It doesn't mean I hate them. I don't hate them. In all honesty, I come from Israel, Palestine, whichever name you guys want to give it. 95% of my Jewish friends were in the army. They were more friends to me than my own people. I don't have no hate for them. Yeah, we have probably political differences, but hey, 2 brothers have a political difference. It doesn't mean that I should go there, fight with them or kill them. But to sit there, Christian Zionism, God bless Israel, God bless the Jews. Anybody knows the state of Israel today? Number 1 in prostitution, number 1 in homosexuality, and drugs are more than water. Al-Badi, exactly. We are the followers of Christ. We are the Jews, not the Jews of today. Now a Jew is going to say, I'm wrong. That's fine. That's his opinion. He's entitled to it. But I'm a Christian. I speak on behalf of Christianity. So, Mr. Chris Claus, by you forcing Jesus in the Old Testament without the birth of Christ, you are literally admitting that Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible before his birth. So thank you, Chris Claus, for stupid statements, because you don't think before you talk. because you think you're defending Christianity. You are a Christian, so you want to speak in the name of Jesus Christ. Think before you talk, Chris Close. Think. Calling my question stupid question because I'm asking you straight up front question. First of all, Mr. Chris Close, if you consider yourself an educated person, there is no such thing called a stupid question. There's a stupid answer or there's no answer. But there's no such thing called a stupid question. Chris Close, and by the way, in addition to Chris Close, we have Chris Moroccan. That's a different story. Okay. And by the way, if anybody hears, I called Chris Close son of Muta, that person is liar. I'd never, ever, and I would never, ever call Chris Close that. But Chris Moroccan, I admit, yes, I said it. Chris Moroccan is son of a Muta. I don't take it back, and I'm saying it publicly. I don't care if Chris Close claims to be Chris Moroccan, if he claims to be a Christian. I mean, not everybody who tells me I accept Jesus Christ, I consider them to be a Christian. Christianity does not look for numbers. We are not Muslims where you take two statements and you're accepted in. To become a member of a true Christian church, it will take you at least a year. Why? Because we do not accept just people because they want to join. To become a member of the church, you have to understand what Christianity is. You have to understand what the Bible is about. You have to understand that Christianity is not a religion. It is a faith. You have faith in God, and because of your faith in God, you follow the laws of God. You don't follow the laws and then you believe, like Islam or Judaism. Islam is a religion. Judaism is a religion because they have laws first. And because of those laws, you are accepted by God. Any Christian who comes out and says Catholics are not Christians, I will take anybody on that. Greek Orthodox, they're not Christians. I will take anybody on that. There are more Christians than anybody of the new wave invented Christianity of the West. The US of A alone has over 40,000 denominations of Christianity. And when I say Christianity in the West is a joke, it is a joke. The truth, I say it loud and clear. I'm not afraid to say it. In the West, it's all about business. It's about money. It's about power. The faith is secondary. Anybody in the US, you go online, you fill a piece of paper, you become a pastor. If you are well-spoken, I'm not. I'm aggressive with my talk. I don't sugarcoat nothing. I say it as I see it. I'm not diplomatic. I don't play the politic kind of thing. I say as I say as I see. But if you are a sweet talker, if you know how to manipulate people, you become a pastor and you start preaching, and you got people cheering after you, and the next thing, this person is making money, collecting money of this. It's tax-free, accepting anybody to come in so they can increase in number. With increase in number, there's more power. With more power, there's more control. So for those who live in the West, just take a step back and think, why is Christianity failing in the West? Why are more Westerners are converting to Islam and garbage and becoming atheists? Meanwhile, Middle Eastern Muslims are leaving Islam, coming to Christ. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, Morocco, all those Arab Middle Eastern countries, Muslims are leaving Islam, coming to Christianity. Christianity is getting stronger in the Middle East. Why? Because it has roots. It has a solid base. I'm not a Catholic, by the way. I'm not a Greek Orthodox. I'm a Christian. I accept what I feel is right. If I feel it, I understand it. If I don't feel it, I don't understand it. If you feel, for example, if you're a Catholic and you feel confession to a priest, good for you. Good for you. God bless you. I don't have nothing against that. If I want to confess, I go sit myself in a corner and talk to God directly. I feel comfy with that. If you feel going through a saint to get forgiveness, so what? There's nothing wrong with that. Are you cursing God by doing that? Are you turning away from God for doing that? Are you rejecting Christ for doing that? No, you're not. Look at yourself at home. If you can't talk to your father, you go to your mother to be the middle person. Your kids, they can't talk to you as the mother, they go to the father. So that means they love one against the other. But Catholicism, or the Church of Catholics and Greek Orthodox, wherever you go in the world, they stand on the same solid exact rock, whether you guys agree with them or disagree. Unfortunately, in the West, you have two Baptist churches standing against each other, across each other from the street, talking about each other. They talk against, and they call themselves Baptist churches. And then they want me to bow down to them and accept them, otherwise I'm rejected. Claus claimed that he's coming after me. First of all, I never debate. I'm not a debater. I don't believe in debates. To me, debates are a waste of time. You present your opinion, I present my opinion. At the end, I say my conclusion, you say conclusion, and everybody has an opinion. Your opinion cannot be right, cannot be wrong. Your opinion, you're entitled to it. You want to speak it out loud, good. I take challenges. If you make a statement, it doesn't fit right, I will call you out on it. Many in here say, well, Jesus is a Jew. Okay, can you please explain it? Well, read the Bible. Yes, I read the Bible. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. A 12-year-old can do that. The Bible says he's from the seed of David. Okay, can you explain what does that mean? Read it. It means what it means. Well, okay, explain it to me. I can read it. You tell me. Are you rejecting he's from the seed of David? Are you denying he's the seed of David? I'm not rejecting. I'm not accepting. I'm telling you to explain it to me. So if you can't explain what you read, say, well, I'm sorry. This is, I don't under, I mean, I read it. I understand it this way. Does it have a different understanding? And let's give and take. But no, you read it. Okay, I read it, but what does it mean? I'm not going to go into that. I'm not going to even explain that part. At least not for now. But if you're not sure what you are going to read, don't read it. Don't try to explain it. You are sitting among a group of Christians discussing it. By all means, feel free to say whatever you want to say. But to come and say that in front of non-Christians, you are responsible for it. So once you make the claim, you are held responsible. And this is the issue we have with people like Chris Claus on other programs. When Chris Claus says, well, Jesus is from the line of David, and he's from the seed of David, and a Muslim comes up and says, well, can you explain that? And the answer is, this is what it is, read it. And the Muslim says, well, yeah, we read it, but what does it mean? Can you explain it? You are an idiot. You don't understand. You don't know. You this, you that. They restrict him from talking, and they don't kick him from the room. Well, if you can't explain what you're saying, and the Muslim will say, well, if you believe Jesus is God, then how can he come after when he was supposed to be before? And they go in circles. And then on top of that, they end up shutting down the Muslim because they couldn't explain to him. So if you can't explain, don't say. We're not here just to read the Bible and tell the Muslims over here, read the Bible, read it. Anybody in here speaks Greek or understands Greek? I guess not. Okay, then we'll leave that to a different topic. So let's see if we can go back to Chris Claus.
The reality is simple. The Old Testament by itself, without the word of Christ, yes. Did not you teaching him what the Old Testament says based upon your belief? Do you accept the Muslim teaching you the Bible based upon the Quran? Do you accept that Muslim teach you the Bible based upon what it says in the Quran? The answer is no. Why? Yeah, again, what you want to do is you're bringing up irrelevant topics to try to make yourself look as stupid as what you truly are, Gar.
I am bringing a relevant topic. What is the relevant topic? The topic was very easy. Show me where Jesus Christ is mentioned in the Old Testament before the birth of Christ. So I'm bringing an irrelevant topic.
Now, when we're talking about a prophecy, can you keep it civil, Mr. Boy? Because I can insult you worse.
And that's what happens. That's the end of it here. That's what happens when he gets cornered. They go back to the insults, or they run, or they shut you down, or they reject you and call you're not a Christian, you're a Muslim. And by the way, anybody can insult me with anything. It doesn't faze me. Anybody who calls you a Muslim, that's more an insult to me than if you call me any other names. I don't take that down. Now, did I call? This is like an addition. Okay. Did I call Chris Moroccan because he actually had recording of me with a twist on it on one of his videos? I think that's the second video he ever did. Did I call Chris Moroccan son of Mut'a? Yes, I did, and I will say it again. And I'm not afraid of it. I'm not ashamed of it, and I'm not sorry for it. His mother is a Muslimah. He's an ex-Muslim, yes. But when he comes and calls me a Muslim, that's a major insult. It's like blasphemy against God. I'm not God, so they're not blasphemy against me, but that's more an insult to me than calling me anything else. So yes, I did call him son of Mut'a. Unless if he denounces his mother. I'm sure he's not going to do it. Nobody will denounce his mother. So his mother is a Muslimah. He wants to insult me, I can respond to him back. I have no problem with that. Who slaps you on your right cheek, you turn the left, does not mean lay down and be stepped upon and be walked upon and be trashed. Yes, we try to be peaceful, but it does not mean we are a piece of rag for others to play with us. We have the right to defend ourselves, and we have the right to defend our faith. So Chris Claus comes in chat rooms, Nur al-Masih. I don't have no problem with somebody saying shalom. I don't have no problem with anybody uses the language that they come from. I'm a Christian. I use two things. Either peace of Christ be upon you in English, or salam al-Masih ma'ak. Those are the two in English and in Arabic. If I walk into a Jew place, I will say shalom to them. If a Jew comes to me, he will say shalom. He's not going to tell me peace of Christ. I don't know what somebody in Philippines might say. I don't know what somebody in China might say. I don't know what somebody in Indonesia might say. Okay. But no Christian goes into a room and say shalom. That's not a Christian what do you call it? Greeting. Unless if you are a Jew. Christians don't treat each other, talk to each other with shalom. Now, if you're from a Jewish background, or if you're a Jew and saying shalom, that I understand. But Chris Moroccan, supposedly he's a Berber from Morocco. He's an ex-Muslim who became a Christian. He comes in the rooms and shalom, where Christians don't say shalom, unless if I'm addressing a Jew. If I'm addressing another Christian, I will say, peace of Christ be upon you. Or to Arabic speaking, salam al-Masih. So if those people have anything to refute me about, I'm here. Claus made the claim twice. Last week he was supposed to show on Eric Smith's show. Last Tuesday it was supposed to be me and him. He ran, which he usually does. I run to the fire. I don't run away from it. If I'm not confident with what I say, I don't say it. I stand behind what I say. I had 2 videos calling Claus out. He tried to slander me on Eric Smith's show, Crosser of the Crescent. I called him out after that. I got a message that he's going to appear on Tuesday, and it's supposed to be me and him. Tuesday I was there from the beginning till the end. Claus is running late. He got something to do, which usually he does that. But if I was a Muslim, he jumps. It's like somebody throw a banana for him and he comes running. At the end of the show, he shows up. Anybody who was there probably noticed. He came in, not one single word. And I'm sitting waiting. If I was wrong and he can prove me wrong, he would have asked, hey, God of Gold is here, that's one of my names on Paltalk, God of Gold. One of my old names that he's familiar with. He sat quietly. And I'm sitting there waiting. Well, what's going on? So they have no problem trying to slander people, but they're too cowards to come and confront them. Because whoever wants the recording, if you have a Skype, I will send it to you on Skype and you can listen to it. It might be clearer than what I just played. I never denied anything. I never ever denied anything. I can't deny the Old Testament. I do not deny the prophecies. I do not say I'm a Christian. I have to believe in them and what they are and what they stand for. But I'm talking to Claus from a Jewish perspective. A Jew denies the birth. So you come and tell him, no, you have to accept it. I deny Mohamed. So a Muslim has the right to come and force me. That's what he's saying. If you want to force a Jew to believe in what you believe in, then the Muslim has the right to force what he believes on you. If you don't want the Muslim to force it on you, then you shouldn't force it on somebody else. Now, does the Bible talk about false prophets? Yes. Now, how did we know that Muhammad is one of them? Because Muhammad was born. After Muhammad's birth, his claim, his action, his behavior applied on the prophecy of falsehood prophets. So by Muhammad's birth, applied on the falsehood prophet. Without Muhammad's birth, we don't know who those false prophets are. Without the birth of Muhammad, you don't know who the false prophets are. Without the birth of Christ, you don't know who the prophecies are about. Simple as that. It's basic equation. Guys, Christianity is in the middle. We are balanced by Judaism and by Islam. We are literally split by two, because we have to bring both sides to us. But to push us on the Jews and reject Muslims, that's not right. That is not right. That's not the way we work. And if anybody here knows Chris Claus and consider himself friends with, recording me, or not saying nothing to be against me just to go convert, by all means, go send him. Go tell him I'm ready for him anytime. But he is the made that accusation. I am the one to confront him. He made the claim. He has to prove to me. How did I deny anything? Asking a question is not making a statement. Tony King. If I say, Tony King, how are you? The response always is, oh, you're cursing me. Why are you saying that? You mean you're cursing? I didn't curse you. I'm asking, how are you? If you're going to twist my question and make a statement out of it, then say this is what you're doing. But don't make the statement and try to throw it back in my mouth and say I'm the one who's saying it. Because I asked a question. I did not make a statement. My Skype ID is the same on here. What do Muslims know? So anybody wants to have the recording, by all means, you can message me. I'll send it to you. Because I don't know how to make it a link to be able to post it anywhere. So this is the story with Chris Claus and Chris Moroccan. And by the way, the story goes way beyond that on Pal Talk. It goes about at least 15 years. And started all because of some lady on Pal Talk who was a Muslimah. Now again, another thing. You were whoever you are. You became a Muslim. You left Islam and you became a Christian. And somebody found out, okay, and confronted you with it. Be honest. Say, yes, I made a mistake. I became a Muslim. I rejected Islam. I repented and I became a Christian. There's no problem with that. I will be the first one to open my hands for you. But you become a Muslim, and then you turn to become a Christian, and then you deny the fact that you were a Muslim, and then you try to fabricate a story, and you try to hide whatever it is. Well, if you're lying, you're going to be lying. How many non-Arab speakers took the Shahada and they could not pronounce Muhammad correctly? They pronounced it Muhammad, and they were accepted. And I have the recording of that lady taking the Shahada. If you don't have the intentions of becoming a Muslimah, then why did you take the Shahada? For what reason? If you have no intentions of it, Why did you take it? We know that you can pronounce words correctly. So it's not how you pronounce it, it's the intentions behind it. Your intentions were to take the Shahada. Your intentions were to become a Muslima. Because you took it. You said it. End of story. And then you try to deny and add other people to it. And again, I'm not diplomatic. If I say something to your face, I say it behind your back. If I say it behind your back, I say it to your face. I'm wide open. I don't go on those programs to make friends. Anybody choose to be my friend, my arms are open. You choose to be my enemy, that's on you. I have friends in real life. I'm always welcome friends. My main purpose going on those programs, whether on YouTube or Pal Talk, one reason only. Well, actually two. The number one is glorifying his name, praising his name, living in his name. My second purpose is to expose what Islam is and the danger that Islam has on the world. But when you have people like Claus who don't even know what you're talking, you'll be talking about, they come in from nowhere and they put politics into it. Are we talking about politics or are we talking about Islam? God bless the Jews. What does the Jews have to do with Christians? Jews are Jews. You're Christian. So God bless the Jews, but curse the Christians. I'm a Zionist. Well, if you're a Zionist, you're anti-Christ. Zionism is anti-Christianity, point blank. You can't be anti-Christian and a Christian at the same time. So their agenda has nothing to do with my agenda. And because I refuse to accept them, I refuse to bow down to them, I get rejected to be a Christian. Well, hey, they're not God to judge me. But again, their mentality is simple. If you're not from the US of A, you are an ignorant and you don't know nothing. We are above you. We are superior on you, even with your faith. As if Christianity started in Timbuktu in whatchamacallit, in the USA. So guys, this is it. I have no problem. Anybody wants to say something against it, by all means. That's okay. You're entitled to it. If I did something wrong, let me know so I can correct it. But don't hide it and talk about it. We are human. We make mistakes. That's part of our nature. If we don't correct each other and we don't teach from each other, and we don't learn from each other, we can't be united in his name. We owe it to each other. And our goal is to glorify his name.